first, let's get into the latest in coaching news in the NBA. Kyle Irving from Sporting News joins us to discuss this latest extension for Tyronn Lue. And Kyle, it's great to see because these days it just feels like you get like 1 year to coach in the NBA and you get fired. Like even winning, you don't get to do much. I mean, you could have honestly told me Lue would have got fired or extended. I don't know which one I would have picked, but he does get a 5-year, $70 million contract. I just wonder at this stage if it's fair to say, Kyle, that any coach can feel comfortable after a year or two with their team.
I really don't think so. I mean, even when you get the extension that Ty Lue just got, no job is safe. All it takes is one underwhelming year for them to can you. Actually, it doesn't even have to be an underwhelming year, to your point, because, I thought JB Bickerstaff did a pretty good job with the Cavs, and he got canned this year too. But Tyronn Lue gets that extension with the Clippers. Every move they're making right now is intentional. They're about to move into the $2 billion Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California, right down the street from SoFi Stadium where the Rams and the Chargers play. They extended Kawhi Leonard during the middle of this season, a 3-year, $152 million extension, and now they face their biggest decision this offseason, which is Paul George's free agency. He has a $49 million player option that he is expected to decline. Reports say that the Clippers are not willing to offer him the 4-year, $221 million max extension. So is he going to be willing to take a pay cut to stay home in California, continue to try and build something special with Kawhi Leonard, even though, that duo never seems to be able to get healthy at the right time? Or is he going to go somewhere else? The 76ers are a team that keep popping up. The Miami Heat are a team that, are always in the mix to sign a guy like that. So it feels like, the Clippers are trying to build a structure in place as they get ready to move into their own arena for the first time. Tyronn Lue is the first domino to fall. They already had the Kawhi Leonard extension as well. So Paul George will be next on deck.
Could be an interesting summer, I think, for them. Is it going to be an interesting summer for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Kyle? Are they going to win tonight? Can they keep it going? They're 4.5-point favorites. They avoided a sweep. I know that's very hard to do in the NBA. The total is 209.5. Most of the odds makers seem to indicate the series goes 6, which means that they win tonight. But Dallas has been the road warrior team throughout the playoffs. Anytime it looks like they've been a dog in a game on the road, not only do they cover, but they win outright. What do you think happens tonight?
I think I said this the last time I was on the show, and I'm going to stick with it tonight. I think the Timberwolves win the game, but I like the Mavericks to cover 4.5. To me, Minnesota has been right there in this series. The point differential is only about 8 points through the first 4 games of the series. It's really come down to 2 things. It's who's played better out of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving versus Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns, and which team has gotten the job done in crunch time. And that's only been the Timberwolves once so far. It was that last game. In the first 3 losses, Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic averaged 60 points per game to Cat and Ant's 37 points per game. The last game is really the first one that you could really say that Ant and Cat outplayed Luka and Kyrie. So I like the Timberwolves to get the job done tonight. I think that the Mavericks are up for a tough test if Derek Lively is not available to play. To me, it has not been made a big of enough deal how much his absence hurt them in that last game. He has the 4th best point differential plus minus in the playoffs. He has the highest on-court net rating on the team. He averages the most offensive rebounds per game of any player still playing in the playoffs. So, Derek Lively is questionable for tonight. That is a status that is worth monitoring before you play this game.
Yeah, definitely so. And so it affects the props too, as well. As you can see there, those are the odds, by the way, for the series to go 5, 6, and 7. Now, as far as the props tonight are concerned, the highest one in terms of scoring is Luka Doncic. This shouldn't be a surprise. It's 30.5. Kyrie Irving is 23.5. And then naturally you have assists and you have rebounds. Luka 8.5 assists, Kyrie 4.5 rebounds, Luka 8.5, Kyrie 3.5. I mean, we're down to that part of the season, Kyle, where props become a major factor because, again, for the average bettor or the average follower with this stuff, there's only a handful of games left. Do you like anything in particular tonight with this duo with Luka, Kyrie?
Kyrie Irving has done a pretty good job of bouncing back from poor playoff games so far this postseason. So I like his points over after he had a quiet night the other night. I'm sure he's going to want to try and get back on track there, especially if the Mavericks are going to close out this series. And that 30.5 number for Luka is just so high, especially for someone who passes the ball as well as he does. I'd feel a little bit more comfortable going with his over on 8.5 assists than I would be playing his 30.5 points. So, those are the two that I'll leave you with is Luka Doncic over 8.5 assists. And I like Kyrie's over in points as well, just because he's bounced back so well in the postseason.
Okay, and fair enough. Let's take a look at Minnesota's props tonight. And of course, their key duos, Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. Edwards close enough to Luka, 28.5 points, followed by Anthony Towns at 20.5. The assists, Edwards 6.5, Anthony Towns 2.5 tonight, and rebounds, Edwards 7.5. Same with Karl Anthony Towns. You like anything on the Minnesota side?
If you're a believer that the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to win this game, I like Anthony Edwards over 28.5 points. I was really impressed with the way that he set the tone in game 4. He went out and scored 14 points right off the bat in the first quarter. To me, that just gives his team confidence to get the job done. I feel like he's going to try and come out and set a similar tone tonight. Karl Anthony Towns, I would just stay away from his points over under in general, just because he is such a frustrating player. He's going to get the shot attempts, but you just never know if he's going to stay out of foul trouble to actually be on the floor long enough to play any of his player props too. So to me, I just skip right past those anytime that I'm looking at player props, because Karl Anthony Towns is a headache with those fouls. Anthony Edwards always has to tell him to stop fouling. Hopefully he learned his lesson after fouling out of the last game, but they're going to need him to stay into this game. I just don't think that you play those in hope that he stays out of foul trouble.
All right. So Kyle, before you go, I don't know if you and I will have a chance to talk before the finals are set. Seems to me you think Minnesota wins tonight. The question is, what happens in Game 6? Does Dallas win, if you believe that? That's plus 145 over on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Now, if you think this is going 7, I mean, Kyle, you can get 8-1 on this. Any chance of that happening, or you think it ends in 6?
I do think that if the Mavericks lose tonight, they close it out at home in 6. We saw the Celtics last season make that comeback and almost pull off that 3-0 deficit, but I don't know if Minnesota has that same juice in them, especially because of how good Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving have been. So I think they close it out in 6, even though I think the Timberwolves get the job done tonight.
All right. Well, Kyle, thanks again for coming on. Really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Thanks so much for having me, Craig.